All right. I always love to do a little intro thing first before we're going. Didn't have that up beforehand. Struggling this morning. Let's do this one. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into the Fantasy Coaches Podcast. I am your host, as always, Coach Steve. Doing something a little different today, guys. We haven't done one yet this year. Probably my fault, but we are doing a little Sunday pregame show for you guys, just to come on with a couple of other fantasy coaches to kind of just talk about some start and sit questions you guys might have. So if you're tuning in today, just tune into the comments, send some questions, and we'll help answer as many as we can. We'll probably do this for about 30 minutes or so, and obviously we'll try to answer as many questions as we possibly can. So let's welcome into the crew. Emerson, what's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm doing great. My Kansas Jayhawks are 5-0, just like me and Justin were talking about before the show. Hoping my Chiefs bounce back tonight too, so feeling good. How are y'all doing?
Love to hear that. Doing well, man. My Dolphins didn't win this week, but it's okay. Hopefully we'll get them next week. Justin, my friend, how are you? Welcome in.
Yo, doing well. Hey, man, rock chalk. I'm going to repeat it. 5-0. We're turning tides. Great day yesterday. Hopefully the Bears can do something too. Yes, sir.
Love it.
You.
Absolutely love it. And Hunter, what's going on, brother?
Morning, gentlemen. I didn't know we were so Kansas heavy in this stream right now, but I support it. No, doing good. Excited for another great day.
Awesome. So like I said, guys, we're going to hopefully answer some start and sit questions that people might throw into the chat. But before I get to some just questions I've been hearing, Hunter, I'm going to let you talk first because you do our DFS article each and every week with No House Advantage here. But so I want to just give you an opportunity for a few minutes here to kind of talk about some great over-unders or any other kind of DFS stuff you wanted to mention real quick before we talk about some start and sits.
Yeah, sure thing. So this week, and then obviously the Cowboys homer coming out in me right now. One of my favorite plays is CeeDee Lamb over 5.5 receptions against the Commanders. He's one of two receivers in the NFL so far that has double-digit targets every single game. And his last two games, he's gone for 7 for 75 and then 8 for 87 and a touchdown. And that's with Cooper Rush the way he's playing. And that's even with a couple drops sprinkled in there, a couple massive drops, if y'all haven't seen those. So I think just with the market share he's getting, Michael Gallup is supposed to come back today, but he's not going to come back from a major injury and eat into CeeDee's workload like that fast. Dalton Schultz is banged up dealing with an injury, even though he's supposed to play again. But still, those two guys being coming back from injury, I just think CeeDee Lamb is just going to continue to get peppered with targets, double digits again. And I love the over at 5.5. And I like the over on the yardage too, which is 73.5 this week. But definitely hammer the receptions more than anything.
Awesome. I love it. Like I said, guys, go to nohouseadvantage.com, use our promo code COACHES, and you'll get a nice bonus match up to $25. So use Coach Hunter's over-unders today and make some money. I am doing it. So definitely should check that out for sure. So we don't have any starting sit questions live yet, but I did have some in our Twitter DM here. So we'll go through a couple of those that I did get in there. So guys, all right, full point PPR as a flex option, Rashard Bateman or Ramondre Stevenson today?
I'll take it first. I'll go with Bateman here. I just don't. The New England offense is over under. I believe is like just for the team total is set at like 15 right now, 15.5. I think. So that's a very low scoring total. I think I know Stevenson might catch some passes out of the backfield if Hoyer's dumping it off, but Bateman's going to be in a high scoring matchup with the Buffalo Bills, and I'd rather take the chance that he scores a long touchdown pass.
Yeah, I agree there. I think it's a no-brainer for Bateman. He's just going to be the guy today, and it is going to be a shootout. They're going to need to put up points, and Bateman is Lamar's number one guy. So I feel like Bateman's due for a touchdown and could have a great day today.
Yeah, whenever you have the highest over-under total on the week, the Bills and the Ravens, you have to start pieces from that offense. And Bateman is, like Becky said, is going to be the number one receiver. And I think he's due for a touchdown as well. So, yeah, I would think we're all in on Bateman.
Yep, I agree with you guys. Buffalo's secondary is still kind of injury prone right now, so Bateman makes the most sense for his big playability. So we do have a chat A live comment chat here from Ryan. Which RB do I start? Standard League, Rashad Penny, Ramondre Stevenson, assuming Cordell Patterson, and Jamal Williams. I also need to stick one of these guys in a flex. So give me 2 guys to start this week. And then he also says, just Craig Reynolds going to steal the touchdowns from Williams? Probably. But how do you guys feel about this? Give us 2 here.
Well, I'll jump in first. Jamal Williams is definitely in with DeAndre Swift being out. And I mean, it's just the way fantasy works. Yeah, Craig Reynolds probably will steal a touchdown, but Jamal Williams is definitely the goal line back in that situation. And with all these receivers being out for the Lions as well, I think Jamal Williams is even going to catch some passes. So heavy workload, goal line back. Jamal Williams definitely goes in there. And then for number 2, I'd probably stick with Cordell Patterson. I think just the workload he's been getting, it's a safe floor. And hopefully today is the day they start utilizing him in the passing game a little bit. But I'm going Jamal Williams and Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, I can go. So update from Adam Schefter this morning. Falcons running back Patterson listed as questionable for Sunday due to a knee injury. Plans to play versus the Browns, but will not know until he tests the injury pregame. So this is definitely concerning for me because he was supposed to practice Friday. He was supposed to be good to go by now. And the fact that it's game time decision, like that's kind of freaking me out. He is my flex play in one of my leagues, but I think I will be benching him. So I'm going to go Jamal Williams and Penny here. I'm not going to repeat anything about Jamal Williams. I think that's a very safe and great play. That should definitely be the number 1 guy out of those listed. I'll go Penny here. I love the matchup versus Detroit. His usage looked great last game, and I still don't think it's Ken Walker's time. So I think Penny could punch one in today. I'm a little nervous on Patterson. If he plays and he's good to go, I would go with him. But right now, I'll say Jamal Williams and Penny.
Okay, and then for me, I know Patterson's a little banged up. I like Penny in some DFS lineups this week. I did plug him in there. I think he's super cheap, around $4,900 on DraftKings. So I think that's a good play. But if I'm in a managed league, I'm going to be sticking with Patterson and Jamal Williams if Patterson plays. But make sure, yeah. What slot is that game at? Is Atlanta at the 1:00 Eastern window?
Believe so.
Okay,
Yes.
So it's so perfect. So it shouldn't be too bad for people to. Wait to see if Patterson's playing, and I'm putting him in if he's playing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all agree with Jamal Williams for sure. And then I think, Patterson makes the most sense just for the workload he's getting all on the ground this week and a decent matchup against the Browns. And then if not, Penny's a solid matchup as well and should be able to see at least 10 to 12 carries pretty early on in this game here. So thanks, Ryan, for your question. Appreciate that.
And just playing off that before we move on to the next one, if you have room, pick up Tyler Algier and just see if he kind of eats into Patterson's workload and, what can happen with that situation.
Agreed. All right, we have another question here that I have in my in our Twitter DM here. Start 1, PPR. Start either Mike Williams, Jamal Williams, or Garrett Wilson.
That is a tough one. With Zach Wilson coming back, I'm a little hesitant about plugging in. I'm a little hesitant about plugging in Garrett Wilson just to see how his chemistry is with Zach Wilson. So Joe Flacco might be better for this offense's fantasy weapons than Zach Wilson. So it comes down to Jamal Williams, Mike Williams for me. If I'm going for floor here, if I'm just going with the safe pick, I'm going with Jamal Williams. If I needed some really high ceiling outcome, I might pick Mike Williams. But in most of my leagues, I would pick Jamal Williams.
Did we say this was PPR?
Yes, PPR.
Yeah, I'll go Mike Williams here. I love the matchup. A little nervous about Herbert. We got to see if he's looking good today. But I'm going to go Mike Will here. I love the matchup, and I think this is definitely an opportunity for Mike to get at least 10 targets in this game. So I'll go with Mike Will. Close one, though, between him and Williams or Jamal Williams.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I would definitely say I would probably do Mike Williams at the end of the day. Keenan Allen being out again, just the PPR kind of gives it that bump. If this was half point, I might lean more towards Jamal Williams, but we'll go with Mike Williams on this.
Yeah, I think either one of those options, any one of those Williams options, are a good one. I'll probably lean Jamal Williams because I just like the usage that he will get on the ground and hopefully in the air, especially without the wide receivers there. Mike Williams is fantastic, but there's been games where he just kind of disappears, and this just seems like a weird game where he could just disappear, even though in a favorable matchup. So I'd rather take the sure usage with Jamal Williams here. So, but both options are pretty good for sure. So. All right, PPR here, still full point PPR. Do you rather start J.K. Dobbins, Brandon Ayuk, or Miles Sanders?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Justin, you want to take this one first?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards Ayuk here. I like the matchup for him. They play Monday night. I mean, I'll just keep it plain and simple. I would prefer Jimmy G being the quarterback for fantasy wise for either Debo or Ayuk. And just given those options, I think I'm going to go Ayuk here. PPR, you said, so that definitely helps my decision. Monday night game, I like it. I like Ayuk here.
I'm probably going to go with Ayuk too. I like plugging Miles Sanders in some DFS lineups this weekend, but I think just Ayuk is going to have the safest floor here. I think you can kind of in PPR. I think you can count on him reaching 10 to 12 points. So, and that I think that's out of this group of guys. I think that would as most as you can expect. So, I would lean Ayuk as well.
And with Sanders, I feel like you need that touchdown too for him to really have a pretty decent fantasy day, especially since he's not really catching receptions this season. So unless Sanders has a touchdown, I don't think he's going to have that good of a fantasy day. So Ayuk for me.
I like the Ayuk call, but I am a Miles Sanders truther, so I'd probably lean that way, just because he has such a safe floor, and like you said, if he gets the touchdown, which he has a chance for, just with that rushing attack. So I'd probably go Sanders, but I think Ayuk would be fine in that slot too. Dobbins would be the odd man out for me because he hasn't come back and done enough from that injury for me to plug him in my lineups yet. He's definitely a hold, but I would go – if I was doing it, I would go Sanders.
Yeah, I think you guys made the best point there. I think Sanders should be pretty fine in this match. I'm expecting some kind of rushing touchdown out of him today, especially as I believe the Eagles should be ahead in this game while allowing Miles Sanders to be able to run the ball. And the Jags do allow the second most rushing touchdowns this season so far. If not, Ayuk is a pretty solid option. I had him as a sleeper this week on our start and sit show. So either or, but definitely Miles Sanders for sure there. All right, another question here. Flex option, start one. Don't have the format though. Javonte Williams, Jamal Williams, or Khalil Herbert. First Khalil Herbert showing of the day. So here we go.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Man. This is tough. I can't come off Javonte Williams yet. I love him. I was on him before the season. He was one of my guys, and he's the RB18 on the year. And this Denver offense has been very poor so far. The play calling has been bad. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet, and I just think that this has been a disaster scenario. And he's still the RB18. So I think this improves. I'm going to keep riding Javonte. I'm going to ride or die with Javonte Williams this season. I still think he finishes as an RB1, especially in this weekend running back landscape. So I'm going with him here.
Well, I love the Javonte Williams call. I mean, he's just a huge game waiting to happen. But a little shameless plug here. I actually wrote about Khalil Herbert in our DFS article this week. And just some of the numbers that he has whenever David Montgomery is out of the lineup. Like, for instance, with Montgomery out of the lineup, he has never rushed for less than 75 yards, and he's averaging 22 opportunities a game and 97 rushing yards a game. This season so far, he's averaging 7.3 yards a carry. I think he's just going to come in and absolutely smash in this matchup. Could easily put up 100 yards, so I'd have to lean Herbert here, but I do like the Javonte Williams call as well.
Oh, this is a tough one. I hate to be that guy, but honestly, I don't think you can go wrong with any of these options. I really, really, really love Khalil Herbert today. I mean, we've seen the Bears this year. They don't even if they try to throw, it doesn't work. They don't like to throw the ball. And I don't see a scenario where Herbert's not getting 18 or more touches. I'll go Herbert since you guys went Williams. I really like Herbert this week, and the Giants, I feel like they're just going to fall apart. They're going to lose this week. Bears are winning, and they're going to run all over the Giants. So I like Herbert today. It's a little risky play. I know it is, but I really like him. Definitely high-end RB2 play.
Yeah, now this is definitely a tough one. You can't really go wrong with either option. I think I have Javonte Williams slated higher in my rankings right now just because the matchup is very easy. But if you want to go with either other option here, they're going to see the workload in their offenses without any suitable passing units this week with either Lions or the Bears. So they're going to run the ball in both these matchups here. So probably Javonte Williams, I'm sorry. But, Jamal or Herbert aren't terrible options at all. So, all right, Ryan is back in the chat once again. What's going on, Ryan? Which 2 wide receivers should I start? Standard league, of course. Christian Kirk, Hollywood Brown, Brandon Ayuk, and Josh Palmer. He said he's nervous about Slay covering Kirk this week. He's also nervous about Brown being injured, and down big from my opponent who had T. Higgins.
Well, you know what? Kirk, it's been shown that cornerback matchups usually don't mean a whole lot, just because people line up all over the field. It's rare. Some cornerbacks do it, and I think Slay might be one who tracks around the field and covers the team's best receivers. But still, Kirk, you'll see a lot of him in the slot. I think they'll design. Coaches kind of scheme up ways to get guys the ball and kind of get them away. The way that Sean McVay uses Cooper Kupp. So I think I'm still starting Kirk. That's a very easy decision, and
he also has Curtis Samuel too.
Yeah, that was somebody definitely to mention. Curtis Samuel's definitely in consideration. However, I'm still starting Marquise Brown unless we get something pregame that's concerning. I think this could end up, until DeAndre Hopkins gets back. I still have faith that Kyler Murray's a very good passer. He's got to get it to somebody. I think Marquise Brown we're still going to get a couple more big weeks from Marquise Brown here before DeAndre Hopkins comes back. So I'll be taking Brown and Kirk here.
Yeah, I'm going Hollywood and Kirk. I'm going to agree with that one. Hollywood is expected to play. He's listed as probable to suit up. So I'm going to expect that he is going to play. I love him. I love that matchup today as well. I think Kyler's going to be slinging it today versus Carolina. And I'd still play Christian Kirk. I mean, he's the one wide receiver. T. Law has looked excellent this season. He's slinging it like no other. And Christian Kirk hasn't disappointed yet. So why start now? I'm putting Kirk and Hollywood in my lineup out of these options.
Yeah, and I completely agree. It'd be Kirk and Hollywood for me. With the lack of an alpha receiver in Arizona, Hollywood Brown had like 19 targets last week, so he's locked in. And Christian Kirk, like you said, they move him all over the field. They're going to scheme for him to be open. So I like both those plays. And we'll just say if Hollywood Brown does sit for whatever reason because he is questionable, I think Curtis Samuel would be your next option to put in. I put him in over Ayuk and Palmer. He gives you a very safe floor. He's getting targeted week in, week out. So,
yeah, I think you guys said it best here in terms of who you guys should go with here. Kirk is just, for me, it's just a strong wide receiver too, no matter what the situation is right now. And then, Hollywood Brown doesn't have A.J. Green, even though A.J. Green wasn't really doing much. But again, that's another target off the offense here, and he's going to probably see close to 7 to 10 targets in this matchup here, in a very favorable situation for him. If it was not standard league, I'd probably lean Curtis Samuel over Hollywood Brown in that sake. But Kirk and Hollywood Brown are probably your best options here, Ryan. All right, let's see if I can find a few more questions here. Just checking the DMs once again here. Just trying to refresh them right now. Let me see. Let's see. All right, full point PPR here. Give me one option here for flex. Alec Pierce, Jahan Dotson, Greg Dortch, or George Pickens.
I mean, if you need a safe floor, you might go Greg Dortch. I might lean. Can you hit me with those one more time?
Yeah. Let me pull that back up here. Alec Pierce, Jahan Dotson, Greg Dortch, or George Pickens. A lot of young players.
I would lean if you're just looking for 10 PPR points and you're confident in your matchup. Greg Dortch is a fine pick. I think he could still have a couple more big weeks, like I said, without DeAndre Hopkins being back. But I love Jahan Dotson. I believe he's top 20 in air yards and average depth of target. So I just think he's due for a big week here. So I'm playing Jahan Dotson in a lot of DFS lineups this week. But in a traditional league, if you're confident in your matchup, I'm fine with Greg Dortch as well.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent point about just getting that 4, and Dortch definitely has that 10.4. I'll keep this short and simple. I definitely think Dortch is the guy out of the names listed. I think 10 is exactly what he can get at the least amount possible. They're going to be slinging it today. They will be. So I really like Dortch today. And, Dotson's a good – He's going to be excellent. He's so talented. But this week, I'm going Dortch, especially with the injuries that the Cardinals got.
Well, and I love what you are saying about the floor with Dortch. The only hang-up I have with that is Rondale Moore is expected to play today. And I almost think he's going to slide into the Greg Dortch role. I mean, maybe not today because it's his first game back. But there is a situation where you start Greg Dortch and then Rondale Moore is getting all these targets and you're disappointed. So that kind of makes me lean Jahan Dotson, and he, coming on stronger as the season goes on. So I have to lean Dotson. But Greg Dortch isn't a bad option. Just, kind of be aware of the Rondale Moore situation.
Yeah, I think you guys said it best. I think Dortch just makes the most sense. Hopefully Rondale Moore does not eat into those targets early on in this first game back for sure. I think if not, I would probably say I would probably take the shot with George Pickens. I mean, he's seen more targets over the last few weeks here now, and it's a decent matchup against the Jets. And I think he only really needs one big play to really just kind of go off. So if you don't want to go that direction, so it is what it is. Wait, Ryan has a defensive question here. All right, some defense.
Oh boy.
If that's okay, absolutely, it's okay. Absolutely. So we have the Browns, the Giants, or the Cardinals defense. Who do you guys like here? Obviously, the Browns do play the Falcons here. The Giants do play the Bears, and the Cardinals play the Panthers, I believe, right?
Definitely not the Browns. The over-under on that game is like 48-49 for some. I didn't think it would be that high.
I like Falcons' money line in that game, too. Yeah, so I agree there.
That's a high-scoring game, so I'm avoiding that. The the Giants in Arizona, you can't go wrong. It's very, I think, safe just to bet against Justin Fields in this horrible offense right now that the Bears set him up with, unfortunately. So, I'd probably go with the Giants, but I have no problem playing Arizona either. But yeah, slight lean toward the Giants here, but I do have Arizona among I think when I did my top 12 defensive rankings this week, I think I did put Arizona up in there in the top 12 or so too. So Giants and Arizona, but definitely not the Browns.
Absolutely agree with not the Browns. I lean Arizona a little bit just because Baker, he's going to make mistakes. I mean, we see it every week. He's chopping his feet in the back, back there and pump faking 6 or 7 times. He just doesn't know what to do with the ball. So, hope for a turnover and a couple sacks. And I lean Arizona, but again, both are pretty solid plays between the Giants and Arizona.
Yeah, I'll go Arizona here, only because I think the Giants are losing today. I'm not sure if that means it's going to be a 13-10 ball game, but I'll go Arizona here. I mean, I'll agree with you. You're going against Baker, and if there's one thing I know, I will always be betting against Baker. So Arizona D for me.
Yeah, I'll probably go with the Giants here as, being probably like 5-10 minutes away from MetLife this morning. Yeah, it's windy as hell out here, and it's going to start raining at some point today. Probably not a good day to have that Bears offense do anything outside of running the ball. And if they can contain the run, obviously Justin Fields is not throwing the ball for what a damn at this moment. So I'll probably lean the Giants on this one here, but it's definitely close. And I forgot to mention before, if those who started Dalvin Cook today must really hate themselves because obviously Alexander Mattison had to get that touchdown today.
I just saw that.
Definitely not and it was a receiving touchdown too, for all that matters. So those who did not start Alexander Mattison this week must be hating themselves, but it made the most sense not to start him. So, all right, Jay has a question here. Some more defensive players here. All right, Bills, Browns, Colts, Bears may need to sit the Bills this week. and just some asshole just dropped the Eagles, so I can't pick them up until Wednesday. That sucks. That would be awesome. But smart on their play. So
Yeah, no doubt.
So Colts, Bears. We don't like the Browns apparently. So unless you guys like the Bills still.
Who are who's Indianapolis playing? Just refresh my memory really quick.
Titans.
I have the Bears. I have the Bears highest, but I could absolutely. I've been playing my DFS lineups this week. I've been plugging in the Bears and Colts quite a bit, each of those. So I think I do have the Bears slightly ahead of my rankings, but it is a bit of a toss-up for me. That Tennessee offense isn't very good, and that Colts defense looked stout last week against the Chiefs for sure. They got a little bit lucky when my Chiefs, Travis Kelce dropping touchdown passes, and our special teams, just having a disaster day. So I'm going to slightly lean the Bears here. I think that could be a really low-scoring total, like we were talking about earlier with the weather, and Daniel Jones not being that great. So that'll be my pick.
Ooh, I would probably go Colts here, but I'm not opposed for Bears defense. Again, it's going to be super low scoring in that game, and if Mr. Weatherman is correct and it is going to be raining there, that definitely helps out for the Bears defense. Yeah, I mean, going against Danny Dimes, I feel confident with the Chicago D here, and also Colts is not the worst play in the world. The only person I can see scoring is Derrick Henry. So I don't know. I'd go Bears here, but definitely Bears or Colts. I'm leaving out Browns and Bills here.
Yeah, and just to echo what they said, I'm leaning Bears also, especially in a bad weather game. Danny Dimes is prone to turnovers, so I'm going to lean Bears.
I'm right there with you guys. I'm sticking with the MetLife matchup that should hopefully be low scoring. So, yeah. All right. So we have a few more questions here I found here on my DMs here. All right. Dalton Schultz or Tyler Conklin?
Man, that is
Schultz is playing.
That is a tough one. I would lean just because of the shakeup. I think you got to trust Schultz here because of just the shakeup in the passing game. It's just when when Joe Flacco and Zach Wilson out there, they're very different quarterbacks. And if Zach Wilson's just chucking it down the field to Garrett Wilson, that could happen. So I'm trusting Dalton Schultz here just because he's the better player. I know it's Cooper Rush, but Cooper Rush has demonstrated to be an effective backup quarterback in this league. So I'm leaning Schultz here. And I think it's just not safe to trust Conklin. I think you want to see what he does with Zach Wilson this week.
I completely agree. It's just the quarterback change for me. Don't know what the offense is gonna look like. Tyler's been excellent this year. Definitely one of the most low-key tight ends of the season. He's getting the targets and he's getting receptions, which is obviously always great to see. But with the quarterback shake, I'm hesitant, so I'm gonna go Schultz here.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'd rather wait and see what Zach Wilson is going to do in that offense. And with Schultz coming back, the Cowboys love game planning, plays to their tight ends. And Schultz he's a good player, so I would definitely go Schultz too.
Yeah, now this is a tough one for me because I do like Tyler Conklin and what he's been doing, but you guys are right. You just don't know what Zach Wilson is going to do. Zach Wilson likes to air it downfield more. So we'll have to wait and see. So I'd probably rather start Dalton Schultz if I had to pick between two. It's a good matchup for him anyway. The Commanders' defense has been atrocious to the passing game this year, so it's a good option for sure. All right, I got another question here. Brandon Ayuk or Cam Akers in a flex, 0.5 PPR?
A lot of Ayuk questions.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have seen a lot of Ayuk today, man. This is a tough one. I think, once again, if you're looking for 10 to 12 safe PPR points, I think Ayuk's the pick. I think I would plug if I'm just have those guys in my lineups. I think I'm plugging in Akers just because I'm shooting for a little higher floor. I don't feel good about it though. That's really close. I'm slightly leaning Akers though. I think we are seeing him become the lead back. I think for some, in the week one he was in the doghouse. They were trying to send a message to Cam Akers. I do think that they intend on Cam Akers leading this offense. The Rams, They've like many offenses in this league, like the Chiefs, like the Bengals, they haven't really gotten it together yet, but I do expect that to improve. So I'm going to lean very slightly toward Cam Akers.
Did we get a league format for this question?
No, just size 0.5 PPR. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, 0.5 PPR, that helps. So I think I'm gonna lean Ayuk here, but Cam Akers, I had such high hopes for him at the start of the year, and his snap percentage is increasing every week from 18 to 44 to 50 last week, and last week he was able to fall into the end zone, and he had 60 yards on the ground. Um, so I mean, it's a pretty. I think he would be the more safe move, but if you're looking for a higher boom potential, I'm gonna go with Ayuk. So I'll go Ayuk here, but it's definitely very close, and it's by a hair for me.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I definitely see Ayuk is more of a ceiling play. Like I think Cam Akers gives you a much safer floor. I'd probably lean in a half point Cam Akers, and just hope that he kind of comes into his own, that snap percentage is going up, like Justin said. So I would lean Akers, but it's very, very close.
Yeah, I think you guys are right. It's a really close one, honestly. I'd probably go Ayuk in my end, just because I expect Ayuk to have a really good game today, just based on, the Rams defense kind of focusing on Debo and George Kittle, who should be back and healthy at this point now. So the Rams have given up a lot of fantasy points to wide receivers this season so far. And while the 49ers have been pretty good against running backs, and unless Akers is going to see a bigger workload than the 50-50 split that they had last week, I'd probably rather trust Brandon Ayuk on this one. So that's kind of the way I see it. All right, let's see. We have any more here? Let me just refresh. All right. Start 2, PPR, 12-team, Tony Pollard, Rashad Penny, or Breece Hall.
So that's a tough one. Oh man, that is tough. I'm gonna lean Breece Hall and Tony Pollard here. Like I said, I do like Rashad Penny as a no. And they're all really close. I like Tony Pollard. I think I was just getting ready to say I like Pollard this week. He's so much more explosive than Ezekiel Elliott. You can just see that last week. Ezekiel Elliott's had an outstanding career, but man, when you take that many hits over that many period of time, you're just going to start wearing down. So he's slowing down a bit. It's very clear. And Tony Pollard is explosive. He's catching passes. I like him. Gosh, Rashad Penny or Breece Hall. That is tough. I don't think Breece Hall is going to continue catching 10 passes. So, continue getting 10 targets. Zach Wilson's not going to keep dumping it off to him like that. Ooh, you know what? I'm going to change my mind. I'm going to go Rashad Penny just because I think he gets a good amount of workload today. I think the Seahawks are going to be competitive with Detroit today because Detroit is decimated on the offensive side of the ball. No DJ Shark, no Amon-Ra St. Brown, no DeAndre Swift. So I'm going to take Penny here, actually.
Yeah, love the Tony pick for the first player. And I said this earlier, but I love the matchup for Penny, and I think he's going to get great usage, and he will fall into the end zone today. So I'm going to go Penny, but the tides are turning in New York.
I agree.
Hall will be the guy any week now, I really think, even though I'm a huge Michael Carter guy. But the tides are turning, and maybe with the new quarterback change, we'll start to see that today. But there's no chance he's getting 10 targets or whatever it was with this quarterback change. Joe Flacco can't move, so dumping it off just makes sense. And with Zach Wilson, we know he can scramble. So I don't think targets will be coming as much his way anymore. I'll go Pollard and Penny here just based off the matchup.
And I'm in agreement with Tony Pollard. Zeke is more of a grinder at this point in his career. Tony Pollard's much more explosive, and he's always a threat to have like a huge 40-yard run every single week. So I like that call. But I would actually start Breece Hall over Rashad Penny. I think Kenneth Walker is going to just continue to get more and more involved. And this past week was the first time that Breece Hall actually outsnapped Michael Carter, just barely. I think it was 51% to 49%.
Yeah.
And with Zach Wilson starting, I think they're going to lean a little bit more on the run game, just to kind of let him get his feet underneath him in this offense, kind of come back slow. So I think they're going to lean on the run. I think Breece Hall is going to supplant that RB1 position in that backfield and hopefully never look back. Everyone's waiting for it to happen. But I would go Pollard and Breece Hall.
Definitely Pollard for sure. He just looks like the better back at this point right now for the Cowboys. but I'm probably going to lean Breece Hall on this one personally for me, just because I think they're going to start using him more and more in this offense. Like I wish like their bye week was like in week 6, because I knew if after week 6, Breece Hall is probably going to just explode. That's usually what happens with rookie players here, but I think his usage is going to pick up as the weeks go on, and I think it starts here because I don't want to overwork, especially Zach Wilson in his first game back, I think, in the air personally. So that's the way I kind of see it. Ryan did come back. He's challenging my rain game. I guess I'm not a great weatherman, but they said the rain will clear out by the Bears game. I think a lot of you guys went with Arizona originally. So is it still Arizona even more now?
I think I was the guy who took the Bears, so I'm still leaning. I mean I said that before you mentioned about the weather, so I'm fine still taking the Bears here. I don't like.
It's Giants or Cardinals.
I see. I'm losing it this morning. Giants or Cardinals? Okay, here we go.
That was a different question.
Too many defensive questions.
Too many defensive questions. Yeah, I'm losing it. So I'm actually that's tough. I think I'm going to go with the Giants here. That passes. You know that the Chicago Bears are not scoring a ton of points. I'm not looking for my defense to usually win my matchup for me. Like if you're shooting for a high ceiling play here, maybe you're hoping to get some interceptions off Baker Mayfield, maybe get a pick 6 or something like that. But just a real safe, I think that this is going to be low scoring. If the Bears somehow win this, it's going to be low scoring. So I'm going to go with the Giants.
Yeah, I'll go Giants just because of the low scoring matchup. I can't see the Bears scoring more than 21 points. So I'll go Giants here. Yeah, good question, Ryan.
And I think I was the one that said Arizona to begin with. I'll stick with it. You know what I said about Baker earlier, just like he's a turnover waiting to happen. So I'll stick with Arizona. But I think either is a safe play.
Yeah, I'm still going to stick with the Giants, even outside of the weather issues. I mean, just the Bears' offensive just look atrocious outside of their run game, and that's probably the only thing that will be successful today. I don't expect much from the passing game. I don't expect them to score more than 14 points today with the Bears' offense at most, probably. So I'll stick with the Giants here. So, all right, let's get one last question in, and we'll wrap things up today here. All right, this is an interesting one. Half-point PPR, J.K. Dobbins or Michael Carter. Dobbins has the Bills' strong front 7 here, and obviously Michael Carter plays the Steelers.
Wow, that's a tough one, man. That's a deeper league flex question, or if you're in trouble at running back, I suppose. But man, I wouldn't want to start either of those guys today. Really, I haven't seen. Man, I'm gonna go J.K. Dobbins. I'm just gonna hope that he starts getting a higher workload. I know that I agree with you guys that Breece Hall is starting to become the man in this offense. I think you're shooting for real low ceiling with Michael Carter here. If you just need 7 or 8 points, I think Michael Carter might get that for you. But if I'm trying to win this week, I'm probably hoping that J.K. Dobbins starts getting a little bit more of this workload. And they're going to be running a lot of plays. Both offenses are going to be running some plays in this game. It's going to be competitive, so that'll keep Baltimore hopefully running the ball a little bit. So I'm leaning J.K. Dobbins, but that is a tough question.
Yeah, no, that was very well said. I definitely would not trust any of these guys this week just because of the way that for Carter, the tides are turning in New York, and we haven't even seen like 75% snap count for JK, 60%. Like we haven't even seen him really be active on the field. I'll go with JK just for the hope, like you said, that, things are going to start rolling for him. They're going to be like, all right, he's healthy. He's good to go. 14, 15, 16 carries, go for it. I'll go JK here. But if you're really nervous about Dobbins, I'm okay with Michael Carter just because he did look really, really good with Zach Wilson last year. I'd probably go JK here, though, just for that higher scoring potential.
Yeah, this one's tough. I said all that stuff about the Jets earlier, maybe leaning on the run game a bit more. And Michael Carter is going to be involved, even though I believe Breece Hall is taking over this backfield. But I would still lean Dobbins. I don't feel good about it because we just haven't seen anything from him yet. But just in a higher scoring matchup, a lot of plays being run back and forth between these teams. I just think J.K. Dobbins has a much higher ceiling than Michael Carter. And, you hope for a touchdown with Dobbins. That's, with as many points that are going to be scored, you hope they get him in the end zone. So I don't feel great about it, but I would have to start Dobbins and hope that he just has the higher ceiling.
Yep, I am right there with you guys. J.K. hopefully he sees the workload today while Carter's going to split with Hall. And again, I expect Hall to take another step in a matchup that probably will involve them running the ball a little bit more. So, and Ryan, you're very welcome. Thanks for tuning in as always. This is your first time, but thank you for tuning in, man. Hopefully you can come back, and we'll probably do this again next Sunday. So just keep our channel on your alerts, and we'll probably be back next Sunday as well. So we're gonna wrap things up here, guys. It was a good 40 minutes today, guys, answering some good fantasy questions here. Hopefully we will have more live ones next week. So if you guys wanted to shout out before we get going, maybe announce a player that might go off today, I'll give you guys the floor real quick.
So you can find my stuff over at the SGPN Fantasy Football Podcast, Fantasy Coaches Podcast here, 5 Yard Rush. A big sleeper play for me this weekend. I like Travis Etienne. I think the Jaguars could be slinging it against the Chargers a little bit. Mainly in my DFS lineups this week. That's kind of a little bit of a DFS play. I don't think people are going to be on him too much. He's a lot cheaper than James Robinson, so that's somebody that I'll be throwing out there.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter. I got my username right up here, just at Justin Pottinger, my name. And I'll go with I wouldn't say a sleeper because hopefully he's in most lineups, but I have a good game feeling for James Conner today. I think today's going to actually look like last year's James Conner, where he will find the end zone and he will have over 40 rushing yards for the first time this season. And on top of that, he should get a couple catches. I love that Kyler's looking for him in the pass game, just little checkdowns. That's excellent to see for PPR leagues. I like James Conner this week. He's been brutal so far, but I think he gets it on the right foot today.
Yeah, and you guys can find my Twitter on the screen right there as well. I write articles for the fantasy coaches every week, DFS articles. And it's a little late to make this call. One of my big plays this week was Chris Olave with, leading the league in air yards. And I haven't checked any stats on the game.
It's not going good.
No, great.
It's not going good. He doesn't have a completed pass to a wide receiver yet.
Andy Dalton is still the same.
Yeah, great. And I knew that Jameis Winston threw it deep to him, and that was what you lean on. But now Andy Dalton's in. It's just that fell apart. But another one, real quick, will be Gabe Davis. Just the Ravens have given up the most points, the most catches, the most yards to wide receivers in the league this season. And, obviously Stephon Diggs is going to get his, but Gabe Davis, I think, can have a monster game too.
Love it. So, yeah, I'll go. I'm going to go with the deep sleeper here. I'm going to go with Matt Collins, guys. No Hunter Renfrow again this week. Davante Adams is going to be double covered all game. Derek Carr's going to have to throw the ball to try to beat the Broncos at some point. I think Matt Collins has another big performance this week. So thank you guys all for tuning in. Again, hopefully we'll be back again next Sunday. Don't know the time yet. Hopefully somewhere similar or maybe a little bit later in the day just so more people can get on. But again, thank you guys for listening. Tune into the Fantasy Coaches everywhere you can possibly find them on Twitter, on YouTube, on Facebook, at our website at www.thefantasycoaches.com. Again, guys, thanks for listening. Tune in until next time, guys, and have a good one.